Hello, hi. This is Jendra, and welcome back to my another lab. So, in previous video, I just discussed how OpenShift CRC work with an Ansible EDA and how we get a self-healing platform by any restarting those applications. So, in this architecture, we are going to demonstrate an AI-assisted incident response workflow running on OpenShift. So, we have deployed two applications in different namespace. So one is demo namespace and one is front-end namespace and backend namespace. So in demo namespace, we have deployed Nginx applications, and in front-end namespace, we have a front-end and another backend namespace, we have a backend applications. So we will generate two issues. One is for service account and one is for network policies. And also, so we have a defined a Prometheus rule. So because OpenShift user workload monitoring is namespace aware, so I configured a Prometheus rule in each application's namespace to define a custom alert. An Alertmanager config to route those alerts to an AAP EDA. So Prometheus rules and Alertmanager config are configured in each namespace. So I have defined the pod namespace over here, and we have a webhook through where it sends those event to AAP EDA. And once EDA receives those events, it matches those rulebook, and based on that, it executes those job templates. So we have a job template to gather Prometheus, Kubernetes, OpenShift informations like pod logs, like what's it describe pod events, and those all information are sent to those AI. So we have integrated with OpenAI, and the OpenAI will return those informations, root cause analysis. So based on that, it will send it will execute those job templates. So before that, we have a manual approval gate over here, and so based on those analysis, it will recommend which job template to execute so that it will resolve those issues. So we have created a workflow where there will be a sequence of job template executions, and we have defined remediations execution template. So it might be SSE permission or create those network policies as a remediations. So you can also integrate a Slack, Teams, and email for further enhance. And once it execute those remediation templates, our this both the Nginx application and this front-end applications will able to communicate with those backend. So these are the overview of OpenShift self-healing with AI log analysis using Ansible automation platforms. Now let's go to those lab. Now we'll do the lab. So OC gate pods. So this is those Nginx application running. So OC project. So we are in the demo namespace, and so OC gate SA. So we have an Nginx SA, and we'll try to remove this NUID. So I have added those permission. So this is OC ADM policy. Just remove this policy. We want to break. Once we remove this policy, then pod will go to crash loop back from user any UID minus -NX, and this is the service account, and in demo namespace, and this is any UID permission. So OC ADM policy. So this has been removed, and we do OC rollout restart deployment Nginx. So once we roll out, then it will goes to crash loop back off. So now let's go over here. So I have already discussed how to configure those things. So we have events 90 over here, and so I have defined those templates. So we have a collect logs, create network policies, so EDA test, fix SSC permission, gather logs, and triage OpenAI. So when you go for gather logs, this is the workflow, this is the visualizations, and so we can see over here like what I have configured in this. So whenever those EDA get those any events from CRC clusters, then it will sense based on those rulebook match, then it will execute this gather log workflow, and it will execute those series of job template. So one, we have a collect logs, and this will be gathering those all those informations, like collecting those logs, description of parts, and other informations like events, and all those information are sent to those OpenAI. So we have integrated those OpenAI over here, and this OpenAI will triage those all those analysis logs. Based on that, so it will execute those job template. So we have a SCC permission job template and create network policy job template. These those remediation job template, and I have just created as a template so that it can be used in other as a module, so it can be used by other team also. We will only pass those variables over here, and on every job template we have defined prompt on launch, so that for everything those variables are passed throughout this templates. For example, so when you go for template, and it's taking time to load, so let's go for here. I'll see get parts. So we got a crash loopback part, and as I said earlier, so this is only for this Alertmanager config match strategy, so we'll need a manual patch for this one. And so I'll pause. So now something happened to the sandbox. So, and this is those templates. So let me see. So when you go for collect logs, so when you go for edit template, so I have enabled prompt on launch, so in order to pass those variables. So all other configuration are same. So for credential, this is for OpenAI key, so where I've configured those OpenAI key over here, and other credential are for CRC secret. So this is for communication between those NG-ROP from AAP to NG-ROP. And similarly, so we have a rulebook activations and project, so and event stream. So let's see, our alert manager has already get those alerts. So in demo namespace we have a pod crash loopback off, and also we have defined this is the pod crash loopback off, and where is it? This is the debug events we have defined, and this is those rule books, the event.yaml. So we have only defined this condition matched. When this is matched, then it will execute those workflow job template. This is the gathered logs, and we have passed those variables extra bars as a namespace and pod name. So in order to get those events, so I have This is the one. This is the manual pass that I have already discussed in previous video. So now we'll wait for getting those event in event stream. So once we get those event, then it will execute those workflow. So we have a also you can see this is the log. You can also see in the ng log over here. So we get this event 91 and we go for gather logs and these are running. We go for over here triage OpenAI and we see demo namespace and nginx. This is the pod. So let's again over here. So let's restart this job template. So I restarted those events. So let's see. Let's get pods. So it is in crash loop back off. So let's verify from Alertmanager. So we do have a pod crash loop back off. And let's go for the event. So we have a event stream is 91. So let's send the event. So we are expecting to get the event as a 92. So once we get those events, then it will be try to run this gather logs workflow templates. So okay, for event stream and still. So this is the triage OpenAI, and so one thing I want to here is the input that I have given to AI. So and this is the model that I have used. So basically these are those instructions those AI will be follow. So this is the event I got 92 and so it will execute the workflow. So we have a triage OpenAI gather logs. So this is the workflow has been executed and so let's see for this one collect logs. So these are the information for demo namespace and for this pod ng427. That is what we have got ng427 pods and these are the logs of that pod and these are all those information are sent to OpenAI. So for log analysis and we go for triage OpenAI or we can go from here. You can view. So this is the AI analysis. So pod is failing due to permission errors when trying to create directives in location where it lacks right permission due to security context, and severity is high and update the security context, and it is telling us to SCC permissions. So these are those job template it is going to execute. And so what do we have on SCC permissions? So these are the files and this is the cluster role bindings and we have given pass to ServiceAccount NUID. And so we have also once it will get those executed then it will restart those deployment to get it effectively. And so let's see what is going to happen. Let's see for jobs and so it's running and so we are waiting for manual approval. So once we go and approve then it will try to execute the job template. So it is executing this job template. So cluster role binding nginx NUID SSE is created. So let's see. So you can see over here. So this is created 29 seconds ago, and we can also see over here. So nginx deployment, and we can also view. So we still have an error over here. So let's see. OC get pods. So you see, so this is those new pods has been deployment. That means the pod is going to be scale 0 and scale 1. That is called restart of the deployments. So this is the one example that is for demo applications. So now the next example in a different namespace. So far I have discussed on this one of these applications, getting those Prometheus alerts, sending to EDA, going to getting those logs, and OpenAI doing the analysis and executing this job template. And also let's see. So also I want to discuss like in this jobs. So it is again triggering. Okay, so nothing. So we see for here there's nothing. So it's just executing by itself, and we don't have anything to pass on this one. So it'll just execute simply those playbooks. There's nothing more than any configuration changes over here. Now let's go for OC project front end. So OC get ports. So this is the front end applications, and OC get ports minus n backend. So this is the one backend application is running. So and we go for OC get. So we have a network policy. So OC get network policy minus n backend. So this is those policy has been defined. So let's delete these policies. So let's delete this network policies. OC delete network policy minus n backend. Now OC get ports. So let's restart this one. OC roll out, restart, deploy, deployment, front end checker. Now we'll wait for the port crash. So this is the front end and back end applications, and we do have a front end application has crash loop back off. So when you go for OC logs front end, then we see unable to connect to those MySQL service. So let's see those Alertmanager. So we do have a deployment down for this front end applications, and when you go for, let's see if alert is received or not. So we go for here and event stream. So this is 95, and we can go for rulebook audit. So this is up to date or not, we can check over here. So port crash loop back off, B96GS, and we can match. This is 8PR87, that means that this is the old one. So we will wait for a few minutes. Okay, we should get those event stream. Should be those 96, those latest streams. So we'll go activations, history. So it is running, so we haven't get any events. So if we need to debug, then over here event.yaml, we can add these lines so that we can get all those debug informations what event has been received by EDA. So this is helpful for debug, and we are only doing for pod crash loopback. We are not monitoring for any like deployment down over here. And for network policies, the same as we have defined as this is a template. So where this is the source and target app. So target is a backend and source is a front end. So we need the backend namespace, and this is the label selectors that we need. And so this is the ingress policies that we have to create. So once we create those ingress policies, so for that we need a source namespace and labels for that port and TCP. So once we create all those things, then it will create those network policy, and it will verifies, and it will show the result. So we haven't received any events, so let's see. It sends the alert. This is the manual patch we are doing, and when we go for refresh, so front end port crash loop back off. So what is the port number is 8PR87. So we have a 8PR87, and now we are waiting for event. So this is the front end app. It's a port crash loopback is coming. So now it will execute the job template. So gather logs job template is running, and you can see over here. So this is the front end 8PR7 gather logs has been. This is for ngrok HTTP request. We can see this has been created. So, and we can go over here, can do triage OpenAI. So this is a front end checker, and we do see network policy preventing connection to MySQL service, and severity is high. Check and update the network policy to allow connection from front end. And this is remediation type is network policies. So earlier we have a related to SCC issues. Now the AI is recommending, based on those analysis, it is recommending for network policies. So we go for jobs, and so it is waiting for approval. So once we go to approve, so now we go for jobs, then it will execute this create network policies. So this is the backend front, and this is all the collected information. Target name is backend, target app is MySQL, and we can see over here, so allow front-end checker to MySQL has been created. This is the communications, and this is the network policies. So network policy has been successfully created. So let's see over here, OC get pods. So we do see running over here, like, and when you do OC get network policy -n backend, and this is created 69 seconds ago. So that means the network policy is created so with the help of AI recommendations, and this is the default one that it will deny all those policies over here. So in conclusion, so this project demonstrate like how AI can be integrated into OpenShift. So like how AI can be integrated into OpenShift operation to move beyond simple alerting and automated restarts. So simply like restarting, we have done those AI analysis. So instead of reacting to the incident, the platforms can collect evidence and perform intelligence root cause analysis and recommend secure remediations and orchestrate those entire response through Ansible automation platforms. So I believe this is a good opportunity to learn like how we can use our AI to do analysis, log analysis when there are number of applications, and based on that it will recommend those job templates. So we have used 2 example over here in different namespace. So that's all. So my next step might be getting those alert notification to Teams or email, and I might it next step might be like with ITSM, so with ServiceNow or any ticketing system. So that's all. Thank you. If you like my video, please like and subscribe my channels to see more updated content like this. Thank you very much. Bye bye.